Every raccoon you've ever seen washing food in water isn't actually washing it. They're doing something far stranger. Raccoons don't have salivary glands that produce the enzymes needed to fully taste their food when it's dry. So they wet their paws in food to enhance their sense of touch, essentially seeing with their hands, in a way that's more sophisticated than human touch. Right now, in cities across North America, raccoons are solving puzzles that would challenge some primates, breaking into raccoon-proof garbage cans within minutes of their installation, and teaching their offspring these skills in what amounts to cultural transmission of knowledge. And what you're about to discover is that raccoons are far more intelligent, far more adaptable, and far more mysterious than the Trash Pandas meme would ever suggest. If you're new here, welcome. This is the Sleepy Facts channel, a space where curiosity meets calm, where knowledge becomes a gentle companion as you drift toward rest. We explore the world's most fascinating subjects in a way that engages your mind while soothing your thoughts. Perfect for those quiet hours when you want to learn something profound without the noise and urgency of the everyday world. If you find value in these journeys, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps us continue creating these long-form explorations, and it means you'll never miss another deep dive into the subjects that make our universe so endlessly intriguing. Tonight, we're entering the world of raccoons. Not just the masked bandits raiding your garbage, but the complex, intelligent, highly adaptable creatures that have thrived alongside humans in ways that few other wild animals have managed. As you settle in and listen, let yourself be carried into this exploration of an animal that's simultaneously wild and urban, ancient and modern, familiar yet deeply misunderstood. The scientific name for the common raccoon is Procyon lotor, with lotor coming from the Latin word meaning washer, referring to that distinctive behavior of manipulating food and water. But this behavior isn't about cleanliness. Raccoons don't have a concept of hygiene in the way humans do. Instead, their front paws contain an extraordinarily high density of sensory receptors, particularly around their fingers, which are remarkably dexterous and almost hand-like. When these paws are wet, the sensitivity increases dramatically, allowing raccoons to gather detailed information about objects without even looking at them. They can identify food, assess its quality, and even manipulate complex mechanisms entirely through touch. Raccoons have been around for millions of years, but the species we know today, Procyon lotor, evolved in North America roughly 2 to 3 million years ago. Fossil evidence shows they've changed relatively little in that time, suggesting they found a successful evolutionary strategy early and stuck with it. This strategy centered on adaptability, omnivorous diet, intelligence, and those remarkable front paws. While many Ice Age megafauna went extinct, raccoons survived, adapting to changing climates and landscapes, eventually becoming one of North America's most successful medium-sized mammals. The raccoon's masked face, with its distinctive black patches around the eyes, serves a functional purpose beyond making them look like tiny bandits. The dark fur reduces glare, similar to how athletes use eye black, improving their night vision. Raccoons are primarily nocturnal, most active from dusk through dawn, and their eyes are adapted for low-light conditions. The mask helps them see better in darkness, giving them an advantage while foraging, hunting, and navigating their territories. It's fashion that evolved for function, a marking that's become iconic, but originally served survival. Raccoon hands, technically front paws, but hands captures their capability better, have 5 digits with a high degree of independent movement. They lack opposable thumbs, so they can't grasp quite like primates can, but they compensate with extraordinary tactile sensitivity and manual dexterity. Raccoons can open jars, turn doorknobs, unlatch complex locks, and manipulate objects in ways that surprise people who've tried to raccoon-proof their homes or garbage cans. There are documented cases of raccoons figuring out multi-step puzzles, remembering solutions, and applying those solutions to new situations. Their problem-solving abilities rival those of monkeys in some experimental settings. The brain of a raccoon, relative to body size, is comparable to that of primates. They have a highly developed cerebral cortex, the part of the brain associated with complex thought, and studies have shown they can remember solutions to tasks for at least 3 years. In one famous study, raccoons taught to open a complex lock could still open it 3 years later without hesitation, demonstrating long-term memory that surpasses many animals. This cognitive capacity, combined with their dexterous paws and adaptable nature, makes raccoons uniquely suited to urban environments, where problem-solving and learning are essential for survival. Raccoons are native only to the Americas, primarily North America, though they range from southern Canada through the United States and into Central America. However, they've been introduced to other parts of the world, sometimes deliberately as fur animals, sometimes accidentally as escaped pets, and have established populations in Europe, particularly Germany and Japan. In these non-native ranges, raccoons often thrive, sometimes becoming invasive species that compete with native wildlife. Their adaptability that serves them so well in North America works equally well in European forests and Japanese cities, demonstrating that raccoon success isn't tied to a specific ecosystem, but to their ability to exploit diverse environments. The raccoon's diet is genuinely omnivorous. They eat plants, fruits, nuts, insects, fish, small mammals, birds, eggs, and yes, garbage. This dietary flexibility is key to their success. They don't rely on any single food source, so when one becomes scarce, they simply shift to alternatives. In natural habitats, their diet varies seasonally. More protein from insects and small animals in summer, more nuts and fruits in fall as they build fat reserves for winter. In urban environments, they adapt to whatever's available, which often means human refuse, pet food, and cultivated plants. This opportunism sometimes brings them into conflict with humans, but it's also what makes them such successful survivors. Raccoons don't truly hibernate, but they do enter a state called torpor during the coldest winter periods, particularly in northern parts of their range. Their body temperature drops, their metabolism slows, and they sleep for extended periods, days or even weeks, living off stored fat. But they remain capable of waking and venturing out during warmer spells, unlike true hibernators. This flexible approach to winter survival allows them to take advantage of food opportunities during mild periods, while conserving energy during harsh cold. In warmer climates, raccoons remain active year-round, adjusting their behavior to local conditions rather than following a rigid seasonal pattern. A group of raccoons is called a gaze or a nursery. Though raccoons are generally solitary outside of breeding season and mother-offspring relationships, adult males are particularly solitary, while females and their young may share dens and foraging areas. However, in areas with abundant food, particularly urban areas, raccoons display more social tolerance, and multiple individuals may feed in close proximity without aggression. This social flexibility, like so many raccoon traits, demonstrates adaptability. They're not rigidly solitary or social, but adjust their behavior based on circumstances. The raccoon's mating season typically occurs in late winter, from January through March in most of North America, with timing varying by latitude and climate. Males expand their ranging behavior, seeking receptive females, and sometimes competing with other males for mating opportunities. After a gestation period of about 63 days, females give birth to litters averaging 3 to 4 kits, though litters can range from 1 to 7. The kits are born blind and helpless, completely dependent on their mother. Their eyes open at about 3 weeks, and they begin venturing out of the den at around 2 months old, learning to forage and survive under their mother's supervision. Mother raccoons are dedicated parents, teaching their young for months before the kits become independent. This extended learning period is crucial because raccoon survival depends so heavily on learned behaviors: where to find food, how to manipulate objects, which dangers to avoid, how to navigate complex environments. Young raccoons stay with their mothers through their first winter, learning through observation and practice. This cultural transmission of knowledge means that urban raccoons develop different skills than rural ones, with city raccoons learning to navigate human-created environments in ways their country cousins never need to master. The distinctive waddle of a raccoon's walk comes from their plantigrade foot structure. They walk on the soles of their feet with their heels touching the ground, like humans and bears, rather than on their toes like dogs or cats. This foot structure provides stability and allows them to manipulate objects while standing, essentially freeing their front paws to function more like hands. Combined with their ability to sit upright and their dexterous front paws, this body plan gives raccoons remarkable manipulative abilities despite being quadrupeds. Raccoons are excellent swimmers and climbers, navigabilities that expand their habitat options and food sources. They can swim several miles if necessary, though they prefer not to. They climb with ease, using their sharp claws for grip and their long tails for balance. Trees provide both escape from predators and access to food. Bird eggs, fruits, nuts, and tree-dwelling insects. Urban raccoons apply these climbing skills to human structures, scaling buildings, navigating rooftops, and finding entry points into attics and crawl spaces. What evolved for forest survival translates remarkably well to urban architecture. The raccoon's tail, accounting for about half their total length, serves multiple purposes. The distinctive rings provide some camouflage in their natural forest habitat, breaking up the animal's outline. The tail helps with balance during climbing and provides warmth during cold weather. Raccoons often curl up with their tails wrapped around themselves for insulation. The tail also plays a role in communication, with position and movement conveying information to other raccoons, though we understand relatively little about the subtleties of raccoon body language. Raccoons vocalize more than many people realize, producing a range of sounds including purrs, whistles, screams, growls, and the distinctive chittering that's become familiar through viral videos. Mother raccoons and kits communicate frequently through soft churring sounds. Adults produce aggressive growls and screams during confrontations. The variety and complexity of raccoon vocalizations suggest sophisticated communication, though we've only begun to understand what information these sounds convey. Urban raccoons may vocalize less than rural ones, possibly because silence provides advantages in environments where attracting human attention is disadvantageous. The raccoon's sense of touch is their primary sense, dominating their perception of the world in ways that visual animals like humans struggle to understand. Their front paws contain roughly 4 to 5 times more sensory receptors than most other mammals' paws, concentrated particularly in their palmar pads. This allows them to discriminate textures, assess object characteristics, and manipulate items with precision. When you see a raccoon apparently washing food, you're watching them use water to enhance this tactile sensitivity, essentially seeing the food with their hands in exquisite detail. This sensory strategy allows raccoons to forage effectively in darkness, in murky water, and in complex environments where visual information is limited. Raccoons in urban environments display behaviors that rural raccoons never develop, demonstrating remarkable behavioral plasticity. City raccoons learn to cross streets, time traffic lights, exploit garbage collection schedules, and navigate complex human infrastructure. Studies comparing urban and rural raccoon populations show that city raccoons exhibit bolder behavior, more frequent innovation, and faster problem-solving than their country cousins. This isn't genetic evolution. It's cultural adaptation within individual lifetimes, with knowledge passed from mothers to offspring. Urban raccoons essentially develop a different culture, a different way of being a raccoon, adapted to the specific challenges and opportunities of city life. The relationship between humans and raccoons is complex and often contradictory. Many people find raccoons charming, appreciating their intelligence and adaptability. Others view them as pests, destructive nuisances that raid garbage, damage property, and potentially carry diseases. Both perspectives have validity. Raccoons are intelligent and remarkable, but they also thrive in ways that sometimes conflict with human interests. This tension exists because we've created environments, suburbs and cities with abundant food, shelter, and few natural predators, that are essentially raccoon paradise, then become frustrated when raccoons take advantage of opportunities we've inadvertently provided. Raccoons can carry rabies, and they're one of the primary rabies vector species in North America, along with bats, skunks, and foxes. However, the actual risk of contracting rabies from a raccoon is quite low for people who don't handle wild animals. Rabid raccoons display characteristic symptoms: disorientation, aggression, paralysis, unusual daytime activity that make them identifiable. The greater public health concern is raccoon roundworm, a parasite whose eggs can be shed in raccoon feces and remain infectious in soil for years. Accidental ingestion of these eggs, particularly concerning for children playing in areas where raccoons defecate, can cause serious illness. These disease risks are real, but manageable through basic precautions. Don't feed or handle wild raccoons. Keep distance from sick-appearing animals, and practice good hygiene in areas where raccoons are present. The raccoon fur trade was once a significant economic activity in North America, with millions of raccoons trapped annually for their pelts. Raccoon fur coats, particularly the iconic coonskin caps popularized in the 1950s by the Davy Crockett craze, represented frontier aesthetics and American identity. The trade has declined dramatically, partly due to changing fashion and partly due to the expense of fur production. But raccoons are still trapped in some areas for fur and population management. This history of exploitation left lasting impacts on raccoon populations and human-raccoon relationships. Though raccoons' remarkable reproductive capacity and adaptability allowed populations to recover in most areas. Raccoons have been kept as pets, though this is generally a poor idea and is illegal in many jurisdictions. Young raccoons can be affectionate and playful, which leads some people to think they'll make good pets. But as raccoons mature, particularly during breeding season, they often become aggressive, destructive, and difficult to manage. Their intelligence, which makes them fascinating, also makes them challenging. They can open cabinets, manipulate locks, destroy furniture, and generally wreak havoc in homes. Moreover, wild animals kept as pets often develop behavioral and health problems, and there's always the risk of disease transmission. The appeal of a pet raccoon rarely survives the reality of living with one. The name raccoon derives from the Powhatan word "arakkun," which means animal that scratches with its hands. A perfectly descriptive name given by indigenous people who observed raccoons long before European contact. Different Native American cultures had various relationships with raccoons. Some hunted them for meat and fur. Some featured them in folklore and stories. Some attributed spiritual significance to them. These traditional relationships recognized raccoons as intelligent, resourceful animals, attributes that were obvious to people who shared landscapes with them for thousands of years. Raccoons have spread across North America in the past century, expanding their range both naturally and through human introductions. They're now found in every U.S. state except Alaska, throughout southern Canada, and into Mexico. This expansion reflects both raccoon adaptability and landscape changes, particularly the creation of suburban environments with ideal raccoon habitat, combining forest edge characteristics with abundant food and denning sites. The raccoon population in North America today is likely higher than it was before European colonization, despite centuries of hunting and trapping, because human activities have created vast new habitats suited to raccoon ecology. The Japanese raccoon population, established from escaped or released pets in the 1960s and 70s, has grown to hundreds of thousands of individuals and is now considered an invasive species, causing agricultural damage and competing with native wildlife. Japan's experience demonstrates that raccoons can successfully colonize diverse environments far from their native range, but also that their success can come at ecological cost. The cute factor that made raccoons appealing as exotic pets led to their introduction, and once established, their adaptability ensured their persistence despite control efforts. In Germany, where raccoons were deliberately introduced in the 1930s for fur farming and game hunting, populations have exploded to over 1 million individuals. German cities now face similar challenges to North American cities. Raccoons in attics, raiding garbage, damaging property. The German experience provides a kind of natural experiment in raccoon urban ecology, showing that given appropriate conditions, raccoons will exploit urban environments regardless of geographic location, or whether they've co-evolved with human settlements. The behaviors that make raccoons successful in Chicago or Toronto emerge just as readily in Berlin or Kassel. Raccoons demonstrate what biologists call neophilia, attraction to novel objects and situations. Where many animals are neophobic, avoiding unfamiliar things that might be dangerous, raccoons actively investigate novelty. This trait drives their exploratory behavior and contributes to their problem-solving abilities. Presented with a new object, raccoons typically approach, manipulate, and attempt to understand it rather than avoiding it. This curiosity can get them into trouble, stuck in jars or containers, trapped in uncomfortable situations. But overall, their willingness to engage with novelty provides advantages in rapidly changing environments, particularly human-modified landscapes where novelty is constant. The trash panda nickname, while amusing, somewhat trivializes remarkable animals. Raccoons succeed in cities not because they're cute garbage thieves, but because they're intelligent, adaptable generalists with sophisticated sensory systems and problem-solving abilities. Their success in human environments reflects evolutionary traits honed over millions of years, not opportunistic scavenging. That said, the nickname captures something true about the human-raccoon relationship in cities. These wild animals have inserted themselves into human spaces in ways that range from charming to frustrating, becoming part of the urban ecosystem, whether we intended it or not. The economic impact of urban raccoons is difficult to quantify, but includes property damage, garbage management costs, wildlife control services, and occasionally agricultural losses. Some estimates put raccoon-related costs in the tens of millions of dollars annually across North America. These costs must be balanced against ecological benefits. Raccoons consume enormous quantities of insects, help disperse seeds, and fill an ecological niche in urban environments. Whether raccoons are net costs or benefits depends largely on perspective and circumstance. But their presence in cities is increasingly recognized as permanent, requiring management rather than elimination. Raccoons have few natural predators as adults, though young raccoons fall prey to owls, hawks, bobcats, coyotes, and large snakes. Adult raccoons are formidable enough to deter many potential predators, using their teeth, claws, and surprising ferocity when threatened. In urban environments, predation pressure is even lower. Domestic dogs occasionally catch raccoons, and coyotes in cities may prey on them. But generally, urban raccoons face fewer predators than rural ones. This reduced predation, combined with abundant food and denning sites, contributes to high urban raccoon densities, sometimes reaching 50 to 150 individuals per square mile in optimal habitats. The conflict between humans trying to exclude raccoons and raccoons' problem-solving abilities has created an evolutionary arms race of sorts. Engineers design raccoon-proof garbage cans. Raccoons learn to defeat them. Homeowners install barriers. Raccoons find ways around, under, or through them. This dynamic provides informal but revealing tests of raccoon intelligence, demonstrating that they can learn multi-step solutions, remember them, and teach them to others. The fact that no truly raccoon-proof garbage can exists, that every design eventually gets defeated by persistent raccoons, testifies to their cognitive abilities. Raccoons exhibit something called latent learning. They acquire information without immediate reinforcement, storing knowledge that may be useful later. In experimental settings, raccoons exploring mazes without food rewards still learned the maze layout and could navigate it efficiently when food was later added. This suggests they're constantly gathering and processing environmental information, building mental maps, and understanding their territories in ways that allow rapid response to changing conditions. This cognitive style suits the unpredictable nature of both natural and urban environments, where today's food source may disappear tomorrow, and flexibility is essential. The lifespan of raccoons varies dramatically between wild and captive settings. In the wild, average life expectancy is only 2 to 3 years, with few individuals surviving beyond 5 years. Predation, disease, vehicles, and the challenges of survival in variable environments all take their toll. In captivity, where these pressures are absent, raccoons can live 15 to 20 years. This disparity highlights the harsh realities of wild animal existence. Even highly intelligent, adaptable animals face constant threats, and most don't survive long. Yet raccoon populations remain stable or increasing, maintained by high reproductive rates that compensate for high mortality. The raccoon's whiskers, called vibrissae, are highly sensitive tactile sensors that extend their sensory reach beyond their paws. Whiskers on the face, particularly around the muzzle, detect air currents, help navigate in darkness, and provide information about nearby objects without direct contact. Raccoons also have whiskers on their wrists, an unusual feature that provides additional tactile information while manipulating objects. These various whisker locations create a three-dimensional sensory field around the raccoon, allowing them to navigate complex environments and manipulate objects with remarkable precision, even in complete darkness. Raccoons adapt their activity patterns to human schedules in urban areas. In natural habitats, they're primarily crepuscular, most active at dawn and dusk, with significant nighttime activity. In cities, they shift toward more purely nocturnal patterns, emerging after humans generally retire and retreating before morning activity begins. This temporal niche partitioning reduces conflict and danger, allowing raccoons to exploit urban resources while minimizing negative encounters with humans. Some researchers suggest urban raccoons are essentially becoming a different ecotype, adapting not just behaviorally, but potentially, over time, genetically, to urban life. The famous raccoon washing food behavior is technically called dowsing, and it occurs whether or not food is dirty. Captive raccoons will douse food in water even when it's already clean, and they'll go through the motions of dousing even when no water is available, suggesting the behavior is instinctive rather than learned hygiene. The behavior likely evolved in wild raccoons who forage extensively in streams and wetlands, manipulating prey items like crayfish, frogs, and mollusks in water. The connection between water and food became hardwired, producing behavior that looks like washing but serves the function of enhanced tactile perception. Raccoons can rotate their hind feet 180 degrees, allowing them to climb down trees head first, a rare ability among mammals. This flexibility, combined with their sharp claws, makes them supremely confident climbers, able to ascend, descend, and move through three-dimensional space with ease. This climbing ability provides escape from ground predators, access to tree cavity dens, and exploitation of food resources in tree canopies. In urban settings, these same abilities allow raccoons to scale buildings, navigate rooftops, and access areas that other urban wildlife cannot reach. The weight of raccoons varies considerably based on season, age, sex, and food availability. Adults typically weigh 10 to 30 pounds, though exceptionally large individuals in areas with abundant food can exceed 50 pounds. Raccoons build fat reserves in fall, sometimes gaining 50% or more of their body weight before winter, then losing much of this weight during winter torpor and spring. Urban raccoons, with year-round food access, often maintain higher body weights than rural ones, and may not show the same seasonal fluctuations. This weight variability reflects the raccoon's flexible metabolism and their ability to adjust body condition based on resource availability. Raccoon tracks are distinctive, showing 5 toes on both front and hind feet, with the front tracks resembling tiny human handprints. These tracks tell stories to those who can read them. The gait pattern reveals whether the raccoon was walking, running, or investigating something. The track depth indicates weight and substrate moisture. The presence of claw marks shows whether the raccoon was digging or climbing. Indigenous trackers and modern wildlife biologists alike use raccoon tracks to understand population density, movement patterns, and behavior, reading the landscape's surface like text that records nocturnal activities invisible to daytime observers. The den sites raccoons choose vary enormously. Tree cavities are preferred in natural habitats, providing insulation and protection from predators and weather. A single female may have multiple den sites throughout her territory, moving kits between them if disturbed or if conditions change. In urban areas, raccoons adapt to available shelter: attics, chimneys, crawl spaces, storm drains, abandoned buildings. Their flexibility regarding den sites, like so many aspects of raccoon ecology, allows them to thrive across diverse environments. The key requirements are security, weather protection, and proximity to food sources. The specific structure matters less than these functional criteria. Raccoons have demonstrated tool use in experimental settings, using sticks to reach food or manipulating objects to solve problems. While not as sophisticated as primate tool use, raccoon tool manipulation shows understanding of object properties and problem-solving flexibility. In wild settings, tool use observations are rare, but raccoons' manipulative abilities and problem-solving suggest they're capable of tool use when circumstances favor it. The rarity of wild tool use may reflect that their dexterous paws generally suffice for manipulation, making tools unnecessary rather than indicating cognitive limitations. The impact of vehicles on raccoon populations is substantial. Roadkill represents one of the major mortality sources for urban and suburban raccoons. The combination of nocturnal activity, frequent road crossing while foraging, and poor visual contrast between pavement and surroundings makes raccoons particularly vulnerable to vehicle strikes. Some research suggests raccoons don't perceive vehicle danger appropriately. possibly because vehicles emerged too recently in evolutionary terms for raccoons to have developed avoidance behaviors. The high mortality from roadkill is offset by high reproductive rates. But in some areas, roads effectively fragment raccoon populations and limit gene flow between subpopulations. Raccoon intelligence has been compared to that of primates in some cognitive domains, particularly problem-solving involving physical manipulation. Studies measuring raccoon performance on puzzle boxes, delayed gratification tasks, and social learning show capabilities that surprise researchers expecting simpler carnivore cognition. However, raccoon intelligence is domain-specific, brilliant at problems involving touch and manipulation, less impressive at tasks requiring visual discrimination or abstract reasoning. This pattern reminds us that intelligence is multidimensional, shaped by ecological pressures, and that different species develop cognitive strength matching their survival needs. The genetic diversity of raccoon populations varies geographically, with some populations showing evidence of bottlenecks from historical overhunting or habitat loss, while others maintain high diversity. Recent genetic studies have identified several subspecies, though the validity and number of these subspecies remain debated among taxonomists. What's clear is that raccoon populations are not genetically uniform across their range, and understanding this genetic structure matters for conservation and management. It also raises questions about whether geographically isolated populations might be diverging towards separate species over evolutionary time, though this process would take thousands or millions of years to complete. Raccoons display personality variation similar to that documented in many animals. Some individuals are bold and exploratory, others cautious and conservative. These personality differences appear consistent over time and affect behavior in various contexts. Bold raccoons are more likely to enter novel environments, approach humans, and solve problems quickly, while shy raccoons avoid risks and show more neophobia. Neither strategy is universally better. Both succeed in different circumstances. This personality variation means that generalizations about raccoon behavior miss individual differences, and it explains why some raccoons become problematic urban residents, while others remain largely invisible to humans. The raccoon's sense of smell, while not as acute as that of dogs, is still quite sensitive and important for finding food, detecting predators, and social communication. Raccoons scent mark their territories using glands near the anus, and may be able to identify individuals by scent. The role of olfaction in raccoon social life remains understudied, compared to their tactile and visual capabilities. But it's clear that scent conveys information about reproductive status, individual identity, and possibly emotional state. The relative importance of different senses varies by context. Touch dominates during foraging, while vision and scent matter more for navigation and social interaction. Raccoons are sometimes kept in zoos and wildlife education centers, where they serve as ambassadors for their species, helping people understand and appreciate these often maligned animals. In these settings, raccoons demonstrate their intelligence through enrichment activities, puzzle feeders, novel objects, training sessions. These demonstrations reveal capabilities that surprise many viewers and challenge negative stereotypes. However, even in these controlled settings, raccoons remain fundamentally wild animals, with independent wills and behaviors that don't always align with human preferences, reminding us of the difference between appreciation and domestication. The process of urbanization creates ecological winners and losers. Raccoons are among the winners, thriving in human-modified landscapes in ways that many native species cannot. This success raises complex questions about conservation priorities and values. Should we celebrate raccoon adaptability, or worry about what their success means for less adaptable species? Do thriving raccoon populations indicate ecological health or degradation? The answers depend partly on perspective and priorities. But raccoon success in cities definitely reshapes urban ecosystems, altering predator-prey relationships, competition dynamics, and disease ecology in ways we're still working to understand. Raccoons can learn from watching other raccoons, demonstrating social learning that allows cultural transmission of information. Young raccoons learn foraging techniques from their mothers, but adults also learn from observing unrelated individuals, particularly in urban settings where raccoons may have opportunities to watch others solving problems. This social learning accelerates the spread of successful strategies through populations. Once one raccoon figures out how to open a particular garbage can, others can learn by observation, quickly rendering that can design ineffective across the population. The relationship between raccoons and domestic dogs is often antagonistic, though the outcomes of encounters vary. Dogs instinctively chase raccoons, viewing them as prey or intruders, while raccoons defend themselves vigorously when cornered. Adult raccoons can seriously injure or even kill dogs, particularly smaller breeds, using their sharp teeth and claws and fighting with surprising ferocity. Most encounters end with the raccoon escaping up a tree, but when escape isn't possible, the raccoon becomes a formidable opponent. These conflicts highlight the reality that raccoons, despite their cute appearance, are wild animals, capable of dangerous behavior when threatened. Raccoons have entered popular culture extensively, from the coonskin caps of frontier mythology to the character Rocket in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, to countless viral videos of raccoons doing amusing things. This cultural presence reflects both familiarity — most North Americans have seen raccoons — and something appealing about their appearance and behavior. The masked face suggests mischief, the dexterous paws indicate intelligence, and their persistence in the face of human deterrence creates narratives of clever underdogs succeeding against opposition. These cultural representations shape how people respond to actual raccoons, sometimes creating unrealistic expectations about interaction safety or appropriate boundaries. The study of raccoon cognition faces methodological challenges. Many cognitive tests were developed for primates or birds and may not appropriately assess raccoon abilities. A raccoon might fail a task not because they lack the cognitive capacity, but because the task doesn't match their perceptual world or motor capabilities. Recent research attempts to design tests appropriate to raccoon biology, particularly emphasizing tactile problem solving. These studies increasingly show that when tested appropriately, raccoons demonstrate impressive cognitive flexibility, memory, and learning abilities, challenging earlier assumptions that carnivores generally have simpler cognition than primates. Raccoons sometimes form what appear to be friendships or alliances, particularly among related females. While adult males remain largely solitary, females occasionally share dens or forage together, behaviors suggesting cooperation, or at least mutual tolerance. The evolutionary advantages of these associations aren't entirely clear. Perhaps shared vigilance against predators, improved defensive resources, or increased foraging efficiency through information sharing. These social bonds are flexible rather than rigid, maintained when beneficial, and dissolved when circumstances change, reflecting pragmatic sociality driven by immediate costs and benefits, rather than permanent group membership. The conflict between wildlife conservation values and individual animal welfare plays out in raccoon management. Population-level management sometimes involves lethal control, trapping and euthanizing raccoons to reduce densities or prevent disease spread. These actions may be justified from a population perspective, but involve killing individual animals, creating ethical tensions. Non-lethal alternatives like contraception or sterilization are expensive and logistically challenging at scale. This dilemma has no easy resolution. forcing communities to make difficult decisions about how to manage successful urban wildlife populations when they conflict with human interests. Raccoons in literature often serve as trickster figures, clever characters who use intelligence to overcome larger, stronger opponents. This literary role reflects observed raccoon behavior, their problem-solving, their success despite human opposition, their ability to exploit circumstances. The trickster archetype across cultures often involves animals who survive through wit rather than strength, and raccoons fit this archetype naturally. These stories, while anthropomorphizing raccoons, capture something true about their ecology and behavior. They are animals who succeed through intelligence and adaptability, rather than size or aggression. The phenomenon of zombie raccoons, reported periodically in media, typically involves raccoons infected with distemper rather than rabies. Distemper causes neurological symptoms including disorientation, lack of fear, seizures, and unusual daytime activity. Affected raccoons appear zombie-like, moving strangely and seeming unaware of their surroundings. Distemper is fatal and not transmissible to humans, though it affects many mammal species, including dogs. These outbreaks, while dramatic, are natural population regulation mechanisms, typically occurring when raccoon densities become very high and disease can spread efficiently through the population. The question of whether raccoons are becoming domesticated through urban living is fascinating but complex. True domestication involves genetic selection over many generations for traits like docility, reduced fear of humans, and modified reproduction. Urban raccoons show some behavioral changes: bolder behavior around humans, reduced flight distances, different activity patterns. But these appear to be plastic behavioral responses rather than genetic changes. Whether urban raccoons are beginning a domestication-like trajectory, or whether their wild genetics will constrain how much they can adapt, remains an open question that will take generations of research to answer. Raccoons contribute to seed dispersal for various plants, particularly fruits they consume. Seeds pass through their digestive systems unharmed, or even scarified in ways that improve germination, then are deposited in feces that provide fertilizer. This ecological service connects raccoons to plant communities, creating mutualisms where plants provide food and raccoons provide dispersal. In urban areas, this process may spread both native and invasive plants, with raccoons contributing to landscape change. Their role as seed dispersers reminds us that even common urban animals perform ecological functions, participating in processes that shape ecosystems. The architectural modifications people make to exclude raccoons, closing attic vents, capping chimneys, securing crawl spaces, create selection pressure favoring raccoons who can defeat these barriers or find alternative solutions. This creates an interesting evolutionary dynamic where human ingenuity at exclusion drives selection for increased raccoon problem-solving ability, which in turn drives more sophisticated exclusion methods. Whether this cycle produces measurable evolutionary change in raccoons over decades or centuries is speculative, but it represents a form of human-wildlife coevolution happening in real time in cities worldwide. Raccoons exhibit what ethologists call washing behavior, most frequently with aquatic prey, crayfish, frogs, mollusks, items they'd naturally encounter and manipulate in water. This supports the theory that dowsing behavior evolved in contexts where water and food naturally co-occurred, becoming ritualized into a fixed behavior pattern that persists even when the original context changes. The behavior's persistence, regardless of food cleanliness or water availability, demonstrates how evolution creates behavioral responses to ancestral conditions that may not perfectly match current circumstances. creating what appear to be quirky or unnecessary behaviors.
The impact of raccoons on bird populations, particularly ground-nesting birds, and those nesting in accessible locations, can be significant. Raccoons are effective nest predators, consuming eggs and young birds, and in some areas, they're major contributors to nest failure for vulnerable species. This creates management challenges in conservation contexts. Protecting threatened bird populations may require managing raccoon populations, creating conflicts between conservation of different species. These situations have no perfect solutions, only difficult trade-offs between competing conservation values. Raccoons can survive in remarkably diverse climates, from the cold winters of southern Canada, where temperatures drop well below freezing, to the subtropical warmth of southern Florida and Central America. This climatic tolerance reflects physiological flexibility, growing thick winter coats in cold climates, entering torpor during harsh weather, adjusting activity patterns to avoid temperature extremes. It also reflects behavioral plasticity, finding appropriate shelter, adjusting foraging times, exploiting seasonally available foods. This broad climatic tolerance has facilitated their range expansion and their success in introduced ranges, with different climates than their native habitat. The sounds of urban wildlife, particularly raccoons, create soundscapes that become familiar to city residents, even when the animals themselves remain mostly unseen. The chittering in the alley, the rustling in the garbage, the movement on the roof. These sounds mark raccoon presence and activity. For some people, these sounds are comforting, evidence of wildlife persisting in cities. For others, they're disturbing, reminders of unwanted presence. This acoustic dimension of human-raccoon coexistence shapes experiences and attitudes, making the relationship not just visual and physical, but auditory. The ethics of feeding wild raccoons divides opinion. Some people view it as compassionate, helping animals survive in challenging environments. Others see it as harmful, creating dependency, encouraging bold behavior that leads to conflict, concentrating animals in ways that facilitate disease transmission. Wildlife professionals generally oppose feeding, arguing it alters natural behaviors and creates problems for both raccoons and humans. Yet feeding continues, driven by human desires for connection with wildlife, empathy for animals, or simple enjoyment of watching them. This disagreement reflects broader debates about appropriate human-nature relationships and whether human intervention in wildlife lives is helpful or harmful. Raccoons demonstrate learning generalization, the ability to apply solutions from one problem to similar but non-identical problems. A raccoon who learns to open one type of latch can often figure out related latches more quickly, demonstrating they're not just learning specific motor patterns, but understanding mechanical principles. This cognitive flexibility, combined with persistence, makes them formidable opponents in human attempts at exclusion. Each solution we create becomes a problem raccoons can potentially solve, and their ability to generalize from past experiences to new challenges means that raccoon-proofing requires continual innovation. The seasonal movements of raccoons, while not true migration, show responsiveness to changing resource availability. Fall sees increased ranging as raccoons search for rich food sources to build fat reserves. Spring brings expanded movement for males seeking mates, and for young, dispersing from their birth territories. Summer movements may follow water availability or ripening crops. These seasonal patterns are flexible rather than rigid, adjusted to local conditions and individual circumstances. Understanding these movement patterns helps predict human-wildlife conflict timing and locations, informing management strategies. Raccoons in folklore and mythology appear across cultures where they're native, often characterized by cleverness, mischief, and adaptability.
Some Native American stories feature raccoon as a trickster or transformer, using intelligence to change situations or trick other animals. These stories, developed over thousands of years of human-raccoon coexistence, recognize qualities that scientific study confirms: intelligence, dexterity, problem-solving, persistence. The consistency between traditional stories and modern behavioral studies suggests indigenous peoples developed sophisticated understanding of raccoon ecology and behavior through careful observation over generations. The future of human-raccoon relationships in cities remains uncertain. Will raccoons continue thriving as cities grow and change? Or will some future development pattern or management approach reduce their success? Will humans develop greater tolerance, integrating raccoons into urban ecosystems deliberately? Or will conflicts intensify as densities increase? Will climate change, emerging diseases, or environmental contaminants affect urban raccoon populations? These questions lack clear answers, but raccoon adaptability suggests they'll continue as prominent urban wildlife for the foreseeable future, requiring ongoing negotiation between human and raccoon interests. The study of urban wildlife ecology has expanded dramatically in recent decades, with raccoons featuring prominently in research. This work reveals how urbanization creates novel ecosystems with different ecological rules than natural systems. Urban environments select for different traits, create different population dynamics, and generate different community interactions than rural environments. Raccoons, as successful urban adapters, serve as model organisms for understanding these processes, their success offering lessons about what traits and strategies allow wildlife persistence in human-dominated landscapes. Raccoons occasionally appear in unexpected places, far from typical habitat, in unusual contexts, behaving strangely. Some of these appearances involve dispersing young animals exploring widely before settling. Others involve displaced animals, transported accidentally in vehicles, or deliberately relocated by humans. Occasionally, they involve sick or injured animals moving unpredictably. These unexpected appearances generate news stories and social media attention, demonstrating continued human fascination with raccoons, even in regions where they're common. The surprise when encountering wildlife, even familiar wildlife, in unexpected contexts, reveals that some wildness persists in our imaginations, regardless of how common the actual animals are. The question of animal consciousness, whether raccoons experience subjective feelings, have awareness of themselves and their situations, or are merely biological machines processing inputs and generating outputs, remains philosophically and scientifically challenging. Raccoons demonstrate behaviors consistent with experiencing emotions like fear, curiosity, frustration, and satisfaction. They learn from experience, remember past events, anticipate future needs, and make decisions based on complex information. Whether this constitutes consciousness comparable to human experience, or whether their inner lives are fundamentally different and perhaps inaccessible to our understanding, remains unknown. This mystery at the heart of our relationship with raccoons and all animals reminds us of the limits of our knowledge. The management of raccoon populations requires balancing multiple objectives: human health and safety, property protection, animal welfare, ecological function, and public preferences. No single management approach satisfies all objectives, so decisions involve trade-offs. Lethal control satisfies some objectives but conflicts with animal welfare. Exclusion protects property but may merely displace problems. Education changes behavior but slowly. Acceptance of raccoons as permanent urban residents may be most realistic, but requires adjusting human expectations and practices. Effective management requires community engagement, scientific information, ethical consideration, and realistic assessment of what's achievable given ecological and social realities.
Raccoons contribute to ecosystem services beyond seed dispersal. They control insect populations, consume carrion, and influence small mammal populations through predation and competition. Quantifying these services is challenging, but raccoons clearly play ecological roles, even in urban areas where ecosystems are heavily modified. Recognizing these contributions provides a more complete picture of raccoon value, balancing the costs they impose against benefits they provide. This ecosystem service framework doesn't resolve conflicts, but provides additional context for decision-making about management and coexistence. The experience of encountering a raccoon varies dramatically based on context. Seeing a raccoon in a forest preserve evokes different responses than finding one in your attic. The same animal elicits appreciation in one context and alarm in another, demonstrating how human responses to wildlife depend heavily on setting and circumstances. This context dependency means that improving human-wildlife coexistence requires attention not just to animal behavior, but to human perceptions, emotions, and the circumstances under which encounters occur. Creating positive coexistence involves managing both sides of the relationship. Raccoons will likely continue evolving in response to urban environments, though evolutionary change happens slowly. Whether they're evolving behaviorally, cognitively, or physically in response to city living remains to be determined through long-term study. What's clear is that urban environments create selection pressures different from natural habitats, favoring boldness over shyness, problem-solving over caution, tolerance of humans over avoidance. If these pressures persist for many generations, they could drive measurable evolutionary change, creating urban raccoons that differ genetically from rural ones. This potential evolution in action provides opportunities to study evolutionary processes in real time, using cities as laboratories for understanding adaptation. The philosophical question of whether humans have obligations toward urban wildlife like raccoons divides people. Some argue we created urban environments that attract these animals, so we have responsibility for managing conflicts humanely and accepting their presence. Others argue wild animals bear risks of living in human spaces, and human priorities should predominate in human-dominated landscapes. These positions reflect deeper disagreements about humanity's relationship with nature, whether humans are part of nature or separate from it, and what ethical obligations follow from our unprecedented ecological dominance. Raccoon management becomes a proxy for these larger philosophical questions. As you drift towards sleep tonight, carrying these facts about raccoons with you, consider the adaptability that allows these animals to thrive in environments as different as forested wetlands and dense cities. The intelligence that enables problem-solving rivaling primates in some domains. The sensory sophistication that lets them see with their hands in darkness. Consider that right now, while you rest, raccoons are emerging from dens, beginning their nocturnal routines, using skills honed over millions of years of evolution to navigate contemporary landscapes their ancestors never encountered. They're solving problems, finding food, raising young, simply being raccoons in a world dominated by humans, succeeding through flexibility, persistence, and remarkable cognitive abilities. If you found value in this exploration of raccoons, I hope you'll subscribe to join us for future journeys through the world's most fascinating subjects. We'll continue exploring with this same spirit of calm curiosity, creating space for wonder and contemplation, revealing the extraordinary complexity of the familiar, showing that the animals we think we know often remain mysterious in profound ways. For now, rest well. Let these thoughts about raccoons settle into your mind. The masked faces and sensitive paws. The problem-solving and persistence.
the ancient evolutionary history and contemporary urban success. All the ways these remarkable animals have adapted to human presence while remaining fundamentally wild. Sleep peacefully, knowing that in cities and forests across the Americas and beyond, raccoons are living their lives, being themselves, participating in ecological relationships, teaching us through their success that intelligence and adaptability matter more than size or strength, that the supposedly simple categories of wild and urban blur in complex ways, that nature persists even in landscapes we've profoundly transformed. Good night.